Well, first of all, I enter many houses in Swinton when I come to visit people for various things, so it's lovely to welcome you all into my home, the Vicarage, and it's lovely to have you watching this video. There's been a church in Swinton since the middle of the 12th century, and this was a Norman chapel which was built where the church hall is at the moment, just a few hundred yards down from the Parish church. And this Norman chapel was a very pretty little thing. It served the people of Swinton well for 600 years. And then in 1817 it was decided to pull the chapel down because the town was growing and the church was in bad repair because we'd had to keep paying money to Mexborough and to Wath. So not only did Swinton people keep their own church going, they had to keep the two churches of Wath and Mexborough going. So the church was pulled down and a new church was built, which many people loved. It's a beautiful church, very plain, again, very plain, but a beautiful church, and the people of Swinton were delighted with it because it's where they could come to celebrate the joys and sorrows of life. That church sadly burnt down, except for the tower. And if you go to the east end of the church today, you can look up at the tower and see the red marks on the tower from the former fire. And the people of Swinton were absolutely devastated. They came and they stood, and within 2 hours the whole church had burnt down except for the tower and the two west walls. A gentleman stood there, took his cap off, and he passed his cap round. And with the coppers that people had in their pockets, they started to give money to rebuild the church. And that's what we've got today here in Swinton, the new church that was built by the people of Swinton. So we've got the remains of the Norman church in the Vicarage Field corner, we've got the Georgian Tower, which was the new church, and we've got the Victorian Church, which as it is now, the people come into. For the past 119 years, this church has stood as a testimony of God's love for the people of Swinton. And the role of the church has changed dramatically over the years. 119 years ago, it would have been unheard of to do some of the things that we do in church today. But of course, it's nothing new. In the medieval church, the church building, the main part of the church, was always used for social events. So beyond the chancel arch would go on the services, and the main body of the church would actually be the marketplace or the meeting of the church. So putting pews into church is relatively a new thing. In the Victorian time, it was always an open space. Today the church is used for many things. There is the daily round of services, so there is morning and evening prayer said in church every day and masses offered each day. People still come for baptisms and weddings and funerals. These are what we call the occasional offices that people come to. But whenever people from Swinton and beyond come to St Margaret's, what we want them to know is that this is God's house, it's their church, and that they are very welcome, that they feel at home here and that they are welcomed. And when you walk into the church, when I go in every morning very early, there is that peace that you don't find anywhere else. And the stillness of the church on those occasions is absolutely wonderful. So you can come into church and the sun is streaming through the windows and there is that great atmosphere of prayer. And then you come other times and there's lots of activity. There's laughter, there's noise, there's music, there's school visits, there's all sorts of things happen in the body of the church and people come to these events. We have lots of carol services where all the children come, and very often there can be up to 600 people in church all singing their carols and enjoying the Christmas celebrations. There will be coffee mornings in church. We've just recently had a scarecrow festival where the place was buzzing with noise and children singing. All sorts of activities in and around the church. When I came to Swinton as vicar in 2001, the church was a very sort of dimly lit church with lots and lots of pews. I've never seen so many pews in a church in all my life. And one of the things we did was to start to raise money to reorder the church. And this meant taking out the pews in the side aisles, taking pews from the back of the church and from the front of the church, and reordering the sanctuary so that in the sanctuary area there's still the high altar against the wall with all the things that should be up there, but in front you're able to put an orchestra or a choir, so enabling you to have concerts and events in the church. and of course the comfy seats at the side make life a lot pleasanter for those who enjoy a comfy seat when they come to church. We also hold a tots and toddler group in church. By removing the pews, we're able to hold tots and toddlers every week, and there can be up to 50 children and parents arriving on a Tuesday for an hour and a half of fun and eating toast and drinking juice and tea and coffee. All these things would have been unheard of 50 years ago, but by removing things in church and making space and not having a load of clutter in the church, people are able to use it more. We've got St Margaret's churchyard, which is the largest working churchyard in England. It's almost 10 acres. And one of the great joys of Swinton is that this is still a local community where many families have lived here from generation to generation. And you only have to walk around the churchyard and look at the stones that tell the story of the people of Swinton, those who've lived here and worked here. And many of their relations and friends are still around here in Swinton, still living together as a community. And I get the great joy not only of walking around the churchyard and reading the names, but also baptising and marrying the couples and the people as they bring their babies to be baptised here, of those from former generations here in Swinton. So it is a great place to live. It's lovely to be here in Swinton, and for me a great joy to serve it as its vicar.